In a Caracas supermarket, a woman pushes a wheelbarrow to the counter. It isn't full of groceries. It's full of cash, a teetering pile of banknotes, and all of it buys her a single loaf of bread. The money now weighs more than the bread it buys. Here's what makes that scene almost impossible to believe. In 1950, this was the fourth richest country on Earth. It sat on more oil than Saudi Arabia, the largest proven reserves on the planet. So how do you go bankrupt while sitting on the biggest fortune in the world? Stay with me to the end, because the answer is one number, not the price of oil, something else. And once you see it, you'll never look at a rich country the same way again. Rewind to the boom. After the 1973 oil embargo, crude prices roughly quadrupled, and the money poured into Venezuela like a flood. They called it Saudi Venezuela. Caracas built highways and skyscrapers. The Bolivar was strong. The middle class flew to Miami to shop and came home with suitcases full. Underneath the country sat around 300 billion barrels of proven oil. More than anyone. It looked less like a country and more like a winning lottery ticket that never stopped paying. But a fortune that big hides a quiet trap. And here is the number that springs it. By 2012, oil made up about 96% of Venezuela's exports and roughly half of all government income. 96%. The entire nation was, in effect, a single stock. And that stock was a barrel of crude. As long as oil stayed expensive, the magic held. The country had stopped building anything else. Why grow food? Why make goods? When one black river paid for everything. Then the river ran low. In mid-2014, oil traded above $100 a barrel. Within 18 months, it crashed below 30. For a normal economy, painful. For a country that was 96% one commodity, it was an extinction event. The single income stream the whole state was built on simply collapsed. And there was nothing underneath to catch it. What came next is one of the worst peacetime economic collapses ever recorded. The economy shrank by roughly 3/4 between 2013 and 2021. A fall so deep, one major institute called it the largest in any country outside of war in nearly half a century. To put that in scale, America's Great Depression shrank the economy by about a third. Venezuela's loss was more than double that. And, to pay its bills, the government did the oldest, most dangerous thing there is. It printed money. The result was hyperinflation so violent the numbers stopped feeling real. By 2018, the central bank's own figure was around 130,000%. The International Monetary Fund estimated it nearer to 900,000. Prices doubled in days. A wallet of cash in the morning couldn't buy lunch by the afternoon. That is the wheelbarrow. Behind every statistic was a kitchen. Shelves in the supermarkets went bare. Hospitals ran out of basics. Families measured wealth in eggs and flour, not bolivars. And so they walked. Around 7.7 million people, close to a quarter of the entire population, packed what they could carry and left, on foot, across borders, in the largest migration crisis the Western Hemisphere has ever seen. They didn't flee a war, they fled an economy. The currency itself became almost a joke that no one was laughing at. To keep the bills printable, the government simply struck zeros off the money, again and again. 14 zeros erased in total over the years. 14. And quietly, on the street, the thing people actually trusted, the thing they priced bread in, was the American dollar. So here is the answer I promised you. The thing that destroyed Venezuela was never the oil. It was that 96%. It wasn't a curse in the ground, it was a bet at the top. A country that owns more of one thing than anyone on earth, feels invincible. So it stops doing everything else. And the day the price of that one thing turns, there is nothing left holding the floor up. The richest can fall the hardest, precisely because they stopped believing they could fall at all. If you want to see the other side of that coin, where the world's wealth quietly runs to when it wants to feel safe, that file is already open on this channel. The 5 countries the billionaires are quietly buying. That's one file, decoded. Country Cipher opens the money, power, and secrets of the world's countries, one at a time. Subscribe until none of it stays buried.